Why is making your first $1 million 10 times harder than making the next 10 million? Think about that for a moment. $1 million sounds big, very big. For most people, it sounds like freedom. It sounds like safety. It sounds like the number that can change everything. But here is the strange thing. Many people who have already made their first million say the same thing. The first million was the hardest, not the second million, not the fifth million, not even the 10th million. The first one. Why? Because the first million is not just about money. It is about becoming a different person. It is about breaking the old version of yourself. It is about learning how money works. It is about learning how people work. It is about learning how value works. It is about learning how to stop thinking like someone who only earns and spends, and start thinking like someone who builds. That is why the first million is so hard. You are not only building wealth, you are building the person who can create wealth. And that is much harder. Most people look at money from the outside. They see a rich person. They see the house. They see the car. They see the business. They see the lifestyle. And they think, I want that. But they do not see the invisible part. They do not see the years of confusion. They do not see the failed ideas. They do not see the fear. They do not see the lonely nights. They do not see the boring work. They do not see the painful decisions. They do not see the days when nothing seems to move. They only see the result. But the first million is built in the invisible part. It is built when nobody is clapping. It is built when nobody believes you. It is built when your bank account is still small. It is built when your skills are still weak. It is built when your confidence is not real yet. It is built when you have to keep going before you have proof. That is the first reason the first million is hard. You must believe before the world gives you evidence. After you make your first million, everything changes. Not because life becomes easy. Life never becomes easy, but it becomes different. You now have proof. Proof that you can do it. Proof that your ideas can work. Proof that your skills have value. Proof that people will pay you. Proof that you can survive pressure. Proof that you can make decisions. Proof that you can build something from nothing. And proof is powerful. Proof changes the mind. Before the first million, you are often fighting doubt. After the first million, you are working with confidence. That is a completely different game. Before the first million, you ask, can I really do this? After the first million, you ask, how can I do this bigger? Do you hear the difference? The first question is full of fear. The second question is full of direction. Fear makes you slow. Direction makes you dangerous. Now let's go deeper. The first million is hard because you usually begin with no system. You have energy. You have hope. Maybe you have a dream. Maybe you have a skill. Maybe you have a business idea. But you do not have a real system yet. You do not know exactly where money comes from. You do not know which customers matter. You do not know which product will sell. You do not know which offer is strong. You do not know how to hire. You do not know how to manage cash. You do not know how to handle problems. You do not know how to protect your focus. You are learning everything while trying to survive. That is hard. Very hard. It is like building an airplane while flying it. You make a mistake. You fix it. Another problem comes. You fix it. You lose money. You learn. You lose time. You learn. You trust the wrong person. You learn. You choose the wrong strategy. You learn. The first million is full of expensive lessons. Some lessons cost money. Some lessons cost time. Some lessons cost pride. Some lessons cost sleep. Some lessons cost relationships. But if you are smart, every lesson gives you something. A better eye, a better mind, a better instinct, a better system. And once the system is built, the next money becomes easier. Not easy, easier. Because now you are not guessing as much. You are improving. You are not starting from zero. You are building on top of what already works. This is why making 10 million after the first million can feel easier than making the first one. The first million teaches you the game. The next 10 million is played with the lessons from the first. Now, let's talk about skill. Most people want money before they have the skill to deserve it. This is where many people get angry. They say, "Why am I not rich yet?" But the real question is this: what skill do you have that can create serious value? Can you sell? Can you lead? Can you build a product? Can you understand a market? Can you solve a painful problem? Can you bring customers? Can you create content that moves people? Can you manage people? Can you negotiate? Can you make good decisions under pressure? Can you see opportunity before others see it? Money does not come because you want it. Money comes because you create value. And the bigger the value, the bigger the money. This is simple. But most people do not want simple truth. They want shortcuts. They want tricks. They want a secret. They want one lucky investment. They want one viral video. They want one rich friend. They want one magical idea. That is weak thinking. And weak thinking does not build $1 million. The first million requires you to become useful at a serious level. Useful to customers. Useful to a market. Useful to a team. Useful to a business. Useful to people who have problems and are willing to pay for solutions. That is why skill matters. At the beginning, your skill is usually not strong enough. Your sales are weak. Your communication is weak. Your decision-making is slow. Your discipline is unstable. Your focus is broken. Your mind is full of noise. So the first million forces you to train. It forces you to become better. It exposes every weakness. If you cannot sell, you will feel it. If you cannot lead, you will feel it. If you cannot manage money, you will feel it. If you cannot stay focused, you will feel it. If you cannot handle rejection, you will feel it. The first million is like a mirror. It shows you who you really are, not who you pretend to be, not who you post online, not who you talk about becoming, who you really are when pressure arrives. And many people cannot handle that mirror. They quit. They blame the market. They blame the economy. They blame luck. They blame their family. They blame their country. They blame everything except their own habits. Do not be that person, because the first million does not respect excuses. It only respects value. It only respects execution. It only respects learning. It only respects consistency. Now, if this kind of content helps you think bigger, subscribe to the channel now. Do not just listen and disappear. Hit subscribe. Turn on the notification bell. Stay with us, because here we talk about money, mindset, business, and the real habits that help ordinary people build extraordinary lives. No fantasy. No empty motivation. Just clear thinking. Simple words. Real lessons. Now, Let's continue. One of the biggest reasons the first million is hard is because you are still emotionally attached to money. When you have little money, every dollar feels heavy. Losing $1,000 hurts. Losing $10,000 feels terrifying. A failed decision feels personal. A bad month feels like the end. A customer refund feels like an attack. A business mistake feels like proof that you are not good enough. This is normal, but it is also dangerous. Because if your emotions control your money decisions, you will move badly. You will be too afraid to invest, too afraid to hire, too afraid to test, too afraid to sell, too afraid to raise your prices, too afraid to take calculated risks, too afraid to be visible. The first million requires emotional strength. You must learn to see money clearly, not as something to worship, not as something to fear, but as a tool that moves, a tool that works, a tool that can be used to create more value. Rich people do not think about money the same way poor people do. A poor mindset sees money as something to spend or protect. A builder sees money as something to use. Use it to buy time. Use it to buy skill. Use it to buy tools. Use it to reach customers. Use it to improve products. Use it to build systems. Use it to create more money. That shift is not easy. Because when you are building your first million, you may not have much money to begin with. So every investment feels dangerous. Every risk feels personal. Every loss feels painful. But after your first million, you understand the game better. You know that some money must be used. You know that not every dollar should sit still. You know that cash flow matters. You know that speed matters. You know that information matters. You know that the right person can save you years. You know that the right system can make more money than your own hands ever could. That is why the next 10 million becomes easier. Because you stop thinking like a worker and start thinking like an owner. This is a major difference. A worker asks, "How much can I earn with my time?" An owner asks, "How can this system earn without?" Depending only on my time. A worker sells hours. An owner builds assets. A worker wants a better salary. An owner wants leverage. Leverage is a very important word. Leverage means using something to create a bigger result than you could create alone. A team is leverage. Technology is leverage. Capital is leverage. A brand is leverage. Content is leverage. A product is leverage. A system is leverage. A network is leverage. The first million is hard because most people start with almost no leverage. They only have themselves, their time, their energy, their hands, their small knowledge, their small audience, their small savings. That means every dollar is hard. Every sale takes effort. Every customer takes effort. Every mistake hurts. But once you build leverage, money can move faster. A good product can sell many times. A strong team can do work without you doing every task. A powerful brand can attract customers before you speak. A good system can repeat results. A good piece of content can bring people to you while you sleep. A good investment can grow without daily labor. That is why 10 million can come faster after the first million. Because now you have leverage. Now you have assets. Now you have proof. Now you have confidence. Now you have relationships. Now you have a map. The first million is not only a number. It is the price of building the map. Without the map, you wander. With the map, you scale. Scale means making something bigger, but you cannot scale confusion. You cannot scale laziness. You cannot scale weak offers. You cannot scale bad habits. You cannot scale a business that only works because you suffer every day. Before you scale, you must build something that works. That is what the first million teaches you. It teaches you what works. It teaches you what fails. It teaches you who buys. It teaches you why people buy. It teaches you what to remove. It teaches you what to repeat. It teaches you what not to touch again. This is why the first million feels slow. You are still discovering the machine, but after you discover the machine, the next question is simple. How do we make the machine bigger? More customers, better offer, higher price, better team, better ads, better content, better retention, better systems, better partnerships, better capital, better decisions. The first million is exploration. The next 10 million is expansion. Now let's talk about identity. This may be the deepest reason. Making the first million is hard because your identity has not caught up yet. Identity means who you believe you are. If you grew up around people who always worried about money, money can feel emotional. If nobody in your family built wealth, wealth can feel unfamiliar. If your friends think small, thinking big can feel lonely. If you have spent years earning a normal income, building $1 million net worth can feel impossible. Not because it is impossible, but because your identity rejects it. Your inner voice says things like, "People like me do not make that kind of money. I am not smart enough. I am too late. I do not know the right people. I do not have enough capital. I am not lucky. I am not from the right background. I do not deserve it." That voice is poison, quiet poison. It kills action before action begins. To make the first million, you must fight that voice every day. You must act before you feel ready. You must sell before you feel confident. You must learn before you feel smart. You must build before people believe in you. You must continue before results are obvious. That is why it is hard. You are not just fighting the market. You are fighting your old identity. After the first million, your identity changes. You no longer say, "Can I do it?" You say, "I have done it." That sentence is powerful. I have done it. It changes your posture. It changes your voice. It changes your decisions. It changes your standards. It changes the rooms you enter. It changes the people you talk to. It changes the risks you are willing to take. It changes what you believe is normal. And once your normal changes, your future changes. For a poor mindset, 1 million is a dream. For a builder, 1 million becomes a foundation. That is the difference. Poor thinking treats the first million as the finish line. Builder thinking treats it as the starting line. This is why some people make 1 million and lose it. They thought the number was the goal, but the real goal was becoming the person who can keep and grow it. Making money is one skill. Keeping money is another skill. Growing money is another skill. And teaching money to work without you is another skill again. Most people only focus on making. They do not learn keeping. They do not learn growing. They do not learn protecting. They do not learn multiplying. So money comes and goes. Fast, like water in weak hands. The first million should teach you discipline, not just how to earn, but how to think, how to wait, how to say no, how to protect capital, how to avoid stupid spending, how to stay hungry without becoming reckless, how to invest without gambling, how to build without showing off. That last one matters. Many people lose the game because they need to look rich before they are truly rich. They buy the image before they build the foundation. They buy the car before they own the system. They buy the lifestyle before they understand cash flow. They want applause before they have assets. This is childish and expensive. The first million punishes childish behavior. The next 10 million rewards mature behavior. Mature money is quiet. It does not need to scream. It does not need to prove itself to strangers. It builds. It compounds. It buys assets. It hires smart people. It enters better rooms. It improves the machine. It stays patient. Compounding is another powerful idea. At first, compounding feels slow, very slow. You work hard and see small results. You save a little. You invest a little. You learn a little. You build a little. You improve a little. It almost feels like nothing is happening, but something is happening. The machine is forming. Your mind is changing. Your skills are sharpening. Your network is growing. Your judgment is improving. Your confidence is becoming real. Then one day, things start moving faster. Not because of magic, because of accumulation. Accumulation means small things adding up over time. The first million is slow because accumulation has not shown its power yet. The next 10 million can be faster because compounding begins to help you. Your money makes money. Your audience brings more audience. Your customers bring more customers. Your brand creates trust faster. Your team solves problems faster. Your experience reduces mistakes. Your past work keeps paying you. That is the magic people do not see. It is not luck. It is stored effort, stored learning, stored reputation, stored trust, stored assets. Now, let's make this simple. Imagine two people. The first person is trying to make $1 million for the first time. They have no strong network, no big audience, no proven offer, no strong system, no serious capital, no experience handling pressure, no deep understanding of customers. Every step is new. Every mistake hurts. Every decision feels heavy. Now, imagine the second person. They already made 1 million. They have a working product. They have customers. They have a small team. They have data. They have testimonials. They have cash. They have confidence. They know where the money came from. They know what to do more of. They know what to stop doing. Who has the better chance of making more money? The answer is obvious. The second person, not because they are lucky, because they have assets. They have proof. They have knowledge. They have momentum. Momentum is powerful. Momentum means things are already moving. When a car is stopped, it takes more energy to start. But when a car is already moving, it takes less energy to keep moving. The first million is like pushing a stopped car. Heavy, slow, frustrating. The next 10 million is like steering a car that is already moving. Still dangerous. Still requires skill. But the hardest part has changed. You are no longer fighting stillness. You are guiding momentum. Now, let's talk about trust. Before your first million, people do not trust you much. Customers do not know you. Partners do not know you. Banks may not trust you. Investors may ignore you. Good employees may not want to join you. Your family may doubt you. Your friends may laugh quietly. You are trying to build without social proof. That is hard because trust is money. When people trust you, decisions become faster. Customers buy faster. Partners respond faster. Talented people listen faster. Opportunities appear faster. But trust takes time. The first million is often the period where you build trust from zero. You show up again and again. You deliver. You improve. You solve problems. You keep your word. You survive. Over time, people begin to believe. After the first million, your credibility is different. People see that you are serious. You are not just talking. You have results. And results open doors. This is why success often creates more success. Not always, but often, because success gives proof. Proof gives trust. Trust gives access. Access gives opportunity. Opportunity gives growth. Growth gives more proof. That is another cycle. A better cycle. Most people are trapped in the wrong cycle. They have no results, so they have no confidence. Because they have no confidence, they take small action. Because they take small action, they get small results. Because they get small results, they keep believing they are not capable. Round and round. But builders create a different cycle. They take action. They get feedback. They improve. They get results. Results create confidence. Confidence creates bigger action. Bigger action creates bigger results. Round and round. The first million is the painful process of escaping the weak cycle and entering the powerful cycle. That is why it feels so hard. You are changing your entire operating system. Now, let's talk about risk. Before the first million, risk feels scary because you have less cushion. A cushion means protection, extra savings, extra income, extra options. When you do not have much cushion, one mistake can hurt badly. So you play carefully, sometimes too carefully. You wait. You delay. You overthink. You choose safety even when safety keeps you poor. After the first million, you often have more cushion. You can test more. You can invest more. You can survive mistakes. You can hire help. You can enter better deals. You can wait longer for a bigger result. This does not mean rich people should be reckless. No. Stupid risk is still stupid, but calculated risk becomes easier when you have resources. That is another reason 10 million can be easier after the first million. You can play a better game. At the beginning, you may be forced to play small. Small inventory, small ad budget, small team, small tools, small experiments, small mistakes. Small reach, but after the first million, you can test at a higher level. You can buy data faster. You can hire experts. You can build systems. You can afford better information. You can survive a failed campaign. You can pay for speed. Speed matters. Poor people often pay with time because they do not have money. Wealthy builders use money to save time. They buy tools. They hire talent. They pay for advice. They avoid years of trial and error. They buy back their focus. That is why money can create more money. Not because money is magic, but because money gives options, and options create power. Now, let's talk about focus. The first million is hard because focus is rare. Most people are distracted, very distracted. They start one thing, then they see another opportunity, then another, then another. They try trading, then drop shipping, then real estate, then crypto, then coaching, then YouTube, then agency, then another shiny thing. They call it exploring, but many times it is just weakness with a fancy name. They cannot stay long enough for one thing to work. They quit before the compounding starts. They change direction every time the work becomes boring. And building money is boring sometimes. Very boring. It is repeating what works. Improving small parts. Talking to customers. Making offers. Tracking numbers. Fixing problems. Training people. Creating content. Following up. Showing up again. The first million requires focus because you must build depth. You cannot dig 10 shallow holes and expect to find water. You must dig deep enough. After the first million, focus becomes easier because you know what works. You do not chase everything. You double down. Double down means putting more energy into what is already working. This is another reason the next money comes faster. The first million requires finding the path. The next 10 million requires walking the path harder, smarter, and bigger. Now, let's talk about time. Most people underestimate how long the first million takes. They want fast. Fast money, fast business, fast success, fast freedom. But fast expectations create weak behavior. When results do not come quickly, they feel like failures. They stop. They switch. They blame. They lose patience. But real wealth often needs time. Time to learn. Time to test. Time to build trust. Time to create assets. Time to understand the market. Time to become emotionally strong. Time to become valuable. The first million may take years, but those years are not wasted. They are training. Every conversation teaches you. Every sale teaches you. Every mistake teaches you. Every month teaches you. Every failure removes illusion. After the first million, the timeline can compress. Compress means become shorter, because now you do not need to learn every basic lesson again. You already know many of them. You are faster, sharper, calmer, more accurate. That is why someone may take 10 years to make the first million and then make the next 10 million in 5 years, 3 years, or even less. Not because they became lucky, because they became someone else. Now, let's talk about decision-making. Poor decision-making is expensive. Very expensive. At the beginning, you make many bad decisions. You hire the wrong person. You sell the wrong product. You choose the wrong customer. You underprice. You overpromise. You trust too fast. You move too slow. You spend on the wrong things. You ignore important numbers. You avoid hard conversations. Each mistake teaches you, but each mistake also costs you. The first million is hard because your judgment is still young. Judgment means your ability to see clearly and choose well. After years of building, your judgment improves. You can smell a bad deal faster. You can see a weak offer faster. You can notice a serious customer faster. You can reject distractions faster. You can protect your time faster. You can make better decisions with less drama. Good judgment is a money machine. Bad judgment is a money leak. The first million is when you learn to stop leaking. The next 10 million is when you learn to multiply. Now, let's talk about networks. Before the first million, your network may be small. You may be surrounded by people who think small, people who complain, people who fear risk, people who do not understand business, people who think rich means lucky, people who tell you to be realistic. That phrase can kill dreams. Be realistic. Sometimes it means be careful. That is good. But sometimes it means stay small like us. That is poison. To make the first million, you may need to outgrow your environment. This is painful because old relationships may not understand your new goals. You may feel alone. You may need to find new rooms, new mentors, new peers, new conversations, new standards. The first million often requires a new environment. After the first million, better networks become easier to access. People with bigger ideas are more willing to talk. Doors open. Introductions happen. Partnerships become possible. You start hearing better information, and better information creates better decisions. This is why your network can speed up your next 10 million. But be careful. Do not become a parasite. Do not enter rooms only to take. Bring value. Share information. Solve problems. Make introductions. Be useful. Useful people are invited back. Now let's talk about belief. Belief is not magic. Belief alone will not make you rich. You cannot sit on a sofa and believe your way to 10 million. That is nonsense. But belief matters because it decides what actions feel possible. If you do not believe something is possible for you, you will not fully act. You may pretend to act. You may talk. You may plan. You may post quotes. But deep inside, you will hold back. The first million builds belief through evidence. Small evidence. Your first sale, your first repeat customer, your first profitable month, your first good hire, your first successful campaign, your first large payment, your first serious partnership. Each proof changes you. You think, maybe I can do this. Then later, I can do this. Then later, I am doing this. That transformation is worth more than money. Because once you become the kind of person who knows how to create value, you can create again. Even if you lose money, you are not the same person as before. You still have skill. You still have judgment. You still have experience. You still have network. You still have the map. This is why a self-made millionaire who loses money often has a better chance of rebuilding than a beginner has of starting. Because the real asset is not only the bank account, the real asset is the builder. Now, let's talk about the lie of overnight success. People love stories that sound fast. He made millions in 1 year. She built a company overnight. They got rich from one idea. But most of these stories hide the long preparation. Years of learning, years of failure, years of small attempts, years of skill building, years of frustration. Then one opportunity works, and people call it overnight. Do not fall for that. The first million usually has a long silent season, a season where you are not famous, not rich, not respected, not sure. You are just working, learning, testing, improving, trying again. That season is where most people quit, because it feels like nothing is happening. But everything is happening. The roots are growing. A tree does not look impressive when the roots are growing. But without roots, it dies in the first storm. The first million is root building. The next 10 million is branch growing. Everyone wants branches. Few people respect roots. Do not be stupid. Respect the roots. Now, let's talk about sacrifice. The first million is hard because it asks for sacrifice before it gives comfort. You may need to sacrifice free time, sacrifice comfort, sacrifice ego, sacrifice bad friends, sacrifice entertainment, sacrifice short-term pleasure, sacrifice the need to be understood by everyone. This is where weak people collapse. They want wealth but not discipline. They want freedom but not responsibility. They want results but not repetition. They want the prize but not the pressure. That is childish. Money does not care about your feelings. The market does not care about your excuses. Customers do not care that you are tired. The world pays for value. If you want more money, create more value. If you want serious money, create serious value. If you want 1 million, stop acting like someone who cannot even control their own day. Harsh? Good. Some people need harsh truth because soft words have kept them weak for too long. Now, this does not mean you must destroy your health. No. Stupid hustle is not the answer. Burning out is not the answer. Ignoring family forever is not the answer. But comfort addiction must die. The version of you that chooses comfort every time cannot build serious wealth. You need discipline. You need patience. You need learning. You need emotional control. You need courage. You need the ability to do boring things long after the excitement is gone. That is how the first million is built. Not with fantasy, with standards. Now, let's talk about offers. Money comes when people say yes. They say yes to a product, yes to a service, yes to an investment, yes to a deal, yes to an opportunity, yes to you. Before the first million, many people do not understand offers. They think hard work is enough. It is not. You can work very hard on something nobody wants, and the market will still ignore you. A good offer solves a clear problem for a clear person with a clear promise. Clear problem. Clear person. Clear promise. If you do not know who you help, you will struggle. If you do not know what pain you solve, you will struggle. If people do not understand why they should pay, you will struggle. The first million teaches you clarity. Who is the customer? What do they want? What are they afraid of? What problem hurts enough for them to pay? What result do they desire? What makes you different? What makes your offer urgent? What makes your offer trusted? Once you understand offers, money becomes less mysterious. You stop begging. You stop hoping. You start solving. And when you solve a painful problem well, people pay. Now, let's talk about marketing. You can have a good product and still be broke if nobody knows about it. This is painful for many smart people. They think quality is enough. Quality matters. But hidden quality does not sell. People must see it, understand it, trust it, want it, buy it. Marketing is not evil. Marketing is communication. It is helping the right people understand why your solution matters. Before the first million, your marketing may be weak. Your message is unclear. Your content is boring. Your ads are bad. Your story is weak. Your proof is small. Your audience is tiny. So you must learn. Learn attention. Learn trust. Learn desire. Learn storytelling. Learn repetition. Learn distribution. After the first million, marketing becomes easier because you have proof, testimonials, case studies, customer stories, results, brand recognition, better content, better positioning. You are no longer shouting from zero. You are building on trust. That trust makes the next money faster. Now, let's talk about pricing. Many people undercharge before the first million. They are afraid. Afraid people will say no. Afraid people will judge them. Afraid they are not good enough. So they price too low. Then they work too much. Then they become tired. Then the business has no margin. Margin means the money left after costs. Without margin, growth is hard. You cannot hire. You cannot improve. You cannot advertise. You cannot survive mistakes. The first million often teaches you to charge based on value, not fear. If you solve a valuable problem, charge properly. Do not be greedy, but do not be a coward. Coward pricing kills businesses. After the first million, you understand numbers better. You know your costs. You know your value. You know your market. You know what good customers will pay. You stop apologizing for price. And when pricing improves, growth becomes easier. Now, let's talk about team. At the beginning, you do everything. Sales, marketing, delivery, customer service, accounting, operations, comptant, emails, problems, everything. This is exhausting, but sometimes it is necessary because you need to understand the business. However, you cannot reach 10 million doing everything yourself. At some point, you need people. Good people, not cheap people, not lazy people, not people who need babysitting every hour. Good people, people who own problems, people who think, people who improve the system. The first million often teaches you what kind of help you need. The next 10 million requires you to build a team that can carry weight. This is not easy. Hiring is hard. Managing is hard. Trusting is hard. Letting go is hard. But there is no serious scale without people. A business that depends only on your hands is a job wearing business clothes. A real business has systems and people. Now, let's talk about systems. A system is a way of doing something that can be repeated. How do customers come in? How do they buy? How do you deliver? How do you follow up? How do you solve problems? How do you measure results? How do you train people? How do you improve? Before the first million, many things are messy. You remember everything in your head. You answer everything yourself. You fix everything yourself. You are the system. That is dangerous. Because if you stop, everything stops. After the first million, you should begin removing yourself from every small task. Write processes. Use tools. Train people. Track numbers. Build repeatable actions. The next 10 million need systems. Because scale loves order. Chaos may create the first dollars, but order creates serious wealth. Now, let's talk about numbers. Many people avoid numbers because numbers tell the truth. Revenu, profit, cost, cash flow, customer acquisition cost, lifetime value, conversion rate, churn, margins, debt, taxes. Most beginners only look at money in the bank. That is not enough. Money in the bank can lie. You may have revenue, but no profit. You may have sales, but bad cash flow. You may grow, but lose money. You may look successful but be fragile. The first million teaches you to respect numbers. The next 10 million requires you to master them. Because at higher levels, small mistakes become expensive. A 5% mistake on $10,000 is small. A 5% mistake on $10 million is very painful. So you must become serious. Track, review, understand, decide. Numbers are not boring. Numbers are the language of the business. If you do not understand the language, you are driving blind. Now, let's talk about patience. The first million is hard because you must keep going when the reward is not big yet. You work hard, but the result is small. You learn, but the money is slow. You post content, but nobody watches. You sell, but people say no. You build, but problems keep coming. This is where patience becomes a weapon. Not passive patience, not sitting and waiting. Active patience. Working, testing, improving, waiting for compounding to show itself. Most people are not patient enough to become rich. They are only patient enough to complain. They can complain for 10 years, but they cannot focus on one business for 2 years. That is crazy, and that is why they stay stuck. The first million rewards active patience. The next 10 million rewards strategic patience. You wait for bigger moves, better deals, better hires, better timing, better opportunities. But you can only do that after you have strength. Now, let's talk about the role of luck. Yes, luck exists. Some people are born in better places. Some people meet the right person. Some people catch the right trend. Some people receive support. Some people have better timing. Only a fool denies luck. But only a coward depends on luck. You cannot control luck. You can control preparation. You can control skill. You can control output. You can control learning. You can control your environment. You can control your standards. You can control how many doors you knock on. Luck often finds people who keep moving. The first million is hard because you have fewer chances for luck to help you. Small network, small audience, small capital, small proof. But as you build, your surface area for luck increases. Surface area means the number of places where luck can touch you. More content, more customers, more relationships, more skills, more deals, more conversations, more experiments. That creates more chances. So the next 10 million may look luckier, but maybe it is not luck. Maybe it is exposure. You created more places for opportunity to find you. Now, let's talk about the emotional cost. The first million can feel lonely because you are changing. Your old friends may not understand. Your family may worry. Your partner may feel pressure. Your mind may feel tired. You may doubt yourself often. Some days, you feel powerful. Some days you feel like a fraud. Some days you think, this is working. Some days you think, I am wasting my life. That emotional swing is part of the first million. You are building without certainty. That is heavy. But after you survive it, you become calmer. You have seen chaos before. You have seen bad months before. You have seen problems before. You have solved things before. You stop panicking so easily. Calm is expensive. You pay for calm with experience. And experience comes from surviving difficulty. That is why the next 10 million may feel easier. Not because problems disappear, but because you are no longer the same fragile person facing them. Now, let's talk about freedom. Many people think the first million brings freedom. Sometimes it does. But sometimes it brings a new prison. If you build the wrong way, you may have money but no time, revenue but no peace, customers but no system, team but no leadership, growth but no sleep. That is not freedom. That is a golden cage. The first million should teach you not only to make money, but to design life. What kind of business do you want? What kind of schedule? What kind of customers? What kind of team? What kind of stress? What kind of future? If you do not ask these questions, you may build something you hate. And then the next 10 million will not feel like success. It will feel like a heavier chain. Money is useful, but direction matters. Build money in a way that supports the life you want, not a life that only looks impressive from the outside. Now, let's talk about the most important idea. The first million is hard because it requires transformation. The next 10 million is easier because it requires multiplication. Transformation means becoming different. Multiplication means making what works bigger. Do you see it? The first million asks, can you change your habits? Can you learn valuable skills? Can you control your emotions? Can you survive failure? Can you build trust? Can you understand value? Can you sell? Can you lead yourself? Can you create proof? Can you become someone new? The next 10 million asks, can you multiply the system? Can you hire better people? Can you reach more customers? Can you improve the offer? Can you use capital wisely? Can you scale without breaking? Can you protect quality? Can you make better decisions faster? Both are hard, but they are not the same hard. The first million is identity hard. The next 10 million is execution hard. Identity hard hurts deeper because you are fighting yourself. Execution hard can be solved with better people, better systems, and better capital. That is why the first million feels 10 times harder. Because before you make the money, you must become the person. Now, how do you actually move toward the first million? Start with value. Do not start with the number. The number is the result. Value is the cause. Ask simple questions. Who do I help? What painful problem can I solve? What skill do I need? What product or service can create real value? How can I reach the right people? How can I build trust? How can I deliver results? How can I repeat this? Do not make money mysterious. Money follows value. Value follows skill. Skill follows practice. Practice follows discipline. Discipline follows standards. Standards follow identity. So, if you want 1 million, start with who you are becoming today, not tomorrow. Today. Are you learning? Are you building? Are you selling? Are you improving? Are you tracking? Are you meeting better people? Are you creating assets? Are you cutting stupid habits? Are you protecting focus? Are you doing the work or only dreaming? Be honest. Most people do not need more motivation. They need honesty. They already know what they are avoiding. They know they spend too much time scrolling. They know they talk too much and execute too little. They know they are afraid to sell. They know they change ideas too often. They know they avoid numbers. They know they waste money on looking successful. They know they are soft when things become boring. Good. Now stop pretending. The first million begins when you stop lying to yourself. Now, here is a simple way to think about the journey. Stage 1. Survival. You are trying to make money. any money. You learn skills. You sell. You make mistakes. You keep going. Stage 2. Stability. You find something that works. You get repeat customers. You understand your market. You build basic systems. You stop panicking every month. Stage 3. Growth. You improve the offer. You raise prices. You hire help. You market better. You track numbers. You create leverage. Stage 4. Wealth. You own assets. You have systems. You have people. You have capital. You make bigger decisions. You protect and multiply. Most people are stuck between survival and stability because they want wealth habits before they have survival discipline. Do the basics first. Sell something useful. Serve people well. Keep promises. Learn numbers. Spend less than you make. Invest in skill. Build assets. Repeat. This is not sexy, but it works. And boring things that work are better than exciting things that fail. Now let's bring this back to the big question. Why is making the first million 10 times harder than making the next 10 million? Because the first million requires you to build everything from nothing. No proof. No confidence. No system. No leverage. No strong network. No deep experience. No emotional strength. No clear identity. You are building the machine and the builder at the same time. But after the first million, you have something. You have proof. You have skills. You have capital. You have a network. You have confidence. You have systems. You have data. You have a better identity. You have momentum. You have a map. And with a map, the road is still long, but it is no longer invisible. That matters a lot. Now, before we finish, I want you to remember this. The first million is not just money. It is a test of your patience, a test of your focus, a test of your discipline, a test of your courage, a test of your emotional control, a test of your ability to create value when nobody is promising you success. Most people fail the test, not because they are stupid, but because they are soft. They quit too early. They chase too many things. They avoid hard truths. They want comfort too much. They do not build skills. They do not respect numbers. They do not understand value. They do not stay long enough. Do not be one of them. If you want the first million, stop worshiping the number and start building the person. Become more valuable. Become more focused. Become more useful. Become harder to distract. Become calmer under pressure. Become someone who can create money, keep money, and grow money. Because when you become that person, the first million is no longer a fantasy. It becomes a target. And after the first million, the next 10 million is no longer magic. It becomes a strategy. That is the real lesson. The first million changes you. The next 10 million uses the person you became. So start today. Not with a huge plan. Not with a fantasy. Not with a motivational quote. Start with one real action. Learn one valuable skill. Make one offer. Talk to one customer. Create one piece of content. Study one market. Fix one bad habit. Track one number. Save $1. Invest 1 hour. Do one thing that moves you from dreamer to builder. Because dreamers talk about money. Builders create value. Dreamers wait for perfect timing. Builders start with what they have. Dreamers want life to be easier. Builders become stronger. And that is why builders win. Now, if this message gave you a new way to think about money, do not leave without taking action. Subscribe, turn on the bell, come back for the next lesson. Learn more, think better, build stronger. Do not just listen. Do something, because the first million will not come to the person who only dreams about it. It will come to the person who becomes ready for it. And maybe today is the day you stop waiting. Maybe today is the day you stop saying later. Maybe today is the day you stop watching other people build the life you secretly want. Maybe today is the day you begin. One skill, one offer, one system, one better decision, one stronger habit. That is how it starts. Small, serious, real. And if you keep going, one day you will understand what every real builder understands. The first million was never just about the money. It was about who you had to become to earn it. And once you become that person, 10 million no longer looks impossible. It looks like the next mountain. Still high, still difficult, still demanding. But now you know something. You can climb, and that changes everything.